Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, Fume Nerd. Today, something different. Not fan-made plants, but today we're going over what, in my opinion, is the top 10 most useless plants in Plants vs. Zombies 2. Now, useless is not least favorite. What it means is that if something is useless, that means I, in my opinion, think it has no use. But it's not my least favorite, because some of the plants on this list I do genuinely like, just they're not useful, and I don't use them. Anyway, let's get into it. Coming in at number 1 is the plant on this list I think is the most useful, that being Sunbeam. Now, I very rarely use Sunbeam, and I've always viewed him as pretty terrible, but in some cases he is okay. So what Sunbeam does is when a zombie eats him, when they take damage, they produce sun. And the more damage they take, the more sun they'll produce. So if you can hit them with something highly damaging, it can produce a substantial amount of sun. So in some cases, it's not bad. It's just not always my first pick, and there's things that are way better than it. So it just barely made the list. Next up, coming in at number 2, is Scaredy Shroom. Don't get me wrong, Scaredy Shroom is a good plant in PvZ1. They kind of just added him in PvZ2 to just so he's there. He's not really good. I've heard people say it's not that Scaredy Shroom is a bad plant, it's just that PvZ2 is a bad game for him to be in because he doesn't fit in the game. He has no real role to play. He's just a cheaper pea shooter who hides when zombies get near. So really, he can be alright. He's just pretty bad most of the time. Next up, in number 3, we have Pumpkin. I genuinely love Pumpkin. He's one of my favorite plants. But the thing is, he was amazing in Plants vs. Zombies 1. But in the second game, he's just not good. So the reason for that is he's got pretty bad health. And so, like, in this game there's just way better stuff, like Primal Walnut or Tall Nut, or just, like, way better things in general. And I personally would not pick him, because he offers no real value. Because not only does he cost, double or triple the cost of a walnut, but he provides no real protection because of the fact he has just such little health and such slow recharge. It's just bad. And number 4 is Garlic. Garlic is an interesting case. It's just, so in order to actually use him, he needs to be eaten, or at least have a bite taken out of him. And the thing about PvZ2 is that there's a lot more unique, gimmicky zombies that don't eat, so they just destroy him, rendering him useless. Which, it would be alright if he was an early game plant, but seriously, you had to introduce him in a late game world. Which is just dumb, like half of the zombies in that world don't even eat. In the first game, he was alright, especially when paired with Gloomshroom. But in the next game, honestly, he just provides no better use. But, I mean, he's alright sometimes, I guess. Hey guys, Editor Fume Nerd here. I somehow lost the original audio for number 5. But anyway, number 5 is Electricity. I'm gonna say, he sucks. He does very weak damage, and he's a CDM, so he sucks even worse. That's pretty much all I had to say. At number 6 is actually 2 plants, because they're basically even. That would be Pea Shooter and Cabbage Pult. Now, Pea Shooter and Cabbage Pult just deal the basic normal damage, classic good old 10 hits to a normal zombie and it dies, and that's it. And you get them in the very beginning of the game, and they immediately get replaced by way better stuff. Literally, if you use them in late game, or like after, like, Pirate Seas or anywhere else, it's just weird. Because they came in so close because they basically do the same thing. The only difference is Cabbage Pole can aim over gravestones. And that's really it. And there's just way better stuff, whether it be like Kernel Polter, Melon Polter, AKEE, or Repeater, or literally anything better. They just are really bad, but it's okay because they're cheap. They're very quick to recharge. Their plant food is pretty decent. It's just, they stink compared to other things, but it makes sense because they're tutorial plants. So I can't really hold a grudge against these guys. You know, they're pretty classic. Number 7. Let me just say, ever since I was a wee little baby, and I was born, and I began playing this game, I immediately went to Lost City because I thought it was cool. This was back when they had world keys. And I played through it, and I liked it. All the plants from it I loved, except for one. And Durian is the worst thing ever. I've hated this guy literally my whole life. Like, he is awful. Let me tell you. And Durian, just think about it. He is double the cost of a walnut, yet he has half the health. The trade-off is he does damage in return when zombies are close. But the thing is, his damage is abysmal too. He does like nothing. For 150 sun, you could place a walnut and a spikeweed and it'd be better than this guy. Like, he's awful. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I hate this guy with a passion. He sucks. Coming in at number 8 is Aloe. Honestly, I've like never used this guy, but from what I've seen and heard, he's not the best. So the whole gimmick with Aloe is that he's cheap, and you place him behind a plant and he'll heal them. But what he does is he doesn't heal them back to full health. He only heals them to up to half health. So if it's like you're really only going to use him to heal defensive plants, but he doesn't even heal them to the max. So it's not even good. And there's no way you're going to be using him to heal literally any other plant besides a defensive plant. So he just sucks. And then even worse, he takes seed packets to get. And I'm not getting that. Like, I'm not going to lie, I'm just not getting that. Number 9. Before I talk about this one, I'm not going to lie, it's actually really fun to just like get my anger out talking about the plants that I hate. It's probably really funny. I hope you guys are laughing. But anyway, number 8 is Sea Shroom. This guy, he's just never had a use in any game he's been in. In the first game, so imagine Puff Shroom. He was overpowered. But the thing is, you can only use him in Fog, which is where he's free, because otherwise you'd have to use him with a coffee bean. But no one's going to do that, because rather than that, you'd rather just place a lily pad and use a Puff Shroom. He's just awful. And then the bad thing is, he has a longer cooldown. So you're not even going to be placing as many Sea Shrooms as you are Puff Shrooms. So what would be even better, which you can get out faster and is just more reliable in general, is a lily pad and a Puff Shroom. I feel like they just kind of made him to exist as like a concept, but he's just so bad. And don't even get me started on PvZ2. Like, why did they add him? For some reason in the shop you can buy him for $1, but that's not even worth it, like, for real. Plus, you're not grinding 250 seed packets to get this guy anyway. He still disappears like a Puff Shroom. He deals no damage, has barely any range, and just sucks. Plus, I do not like the new animation or graphics for him in PvZ2. It's just worse. So, in general, a very bad plant, which they somehow made worse. Number 10. Now, I know I sounded very negative when it comes to the other plants, but let me tell you, nothing makes me angrier than this plant. If I see you using this plant, why? Just why? Because at number 10, we're coming in with Spring Bean. Hate this guy. He's even worse than Endurian. And that's crazy to say. So Spring Bean, he costs 50 sun. And what he does is when a zombie gets near, he pushes them back. And then he cools off for a little bit. There's a recharge. And then he comes back. And he does the same thing over and over. And you get him pretty early game. But his cooldown is so long. Why? He does not need to take like a 50-hour nap after knocking a zombie back. And then even better, he knocks the zombie back not even a... Okay, maybe it's a full tile, but like, still, it's barely anything that he can't even knock them back enough to outlast his own cooldown. He just kills himself. So he sucks. The only real good use is that he can knock zombies back off into the water in Pirate Seas, but that's the only place, and that's one world. His plant food is okay, I guess that's worth it for the 50 sun, but like, I'm not even bringing him to the level to use in the first place, so it's really only if I unfortunately get him boosted in the Zen Garden. But he's just awful. Like, he's horrible. I hate this guy so much. He does literally nothing. He's so useless. You cannot change my mind. This is my official least favorite plant in the entire game, the entire franchise. I hate him. And it's actually kind of funny because it matches in real life. I don't like beans. So, yeah. Anyway, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed me ranting on and yelling about plants that I hate. So, goodbye. Subscribe. Have a good day.